GIMP Lesson 2. I've already downloaded the file that we'll be using for this lesson, so let's go ahead and open it up. Choose Open, navigate to where it is, open up the file that you want, and here we go. Now if you notice, the first thing is that it's a bit crooked. Let's take a look at a few things here. First of all, notice the size is 3288 by 2192. And that the top ruler and the side ruler reflect that size, and down here it shows as in pixels. If you want to see it in a different size, click on the size unit, select it, and now it's been translated, in this case, to inches. Other units also include millimeters, but as usual, let's continue working in pixels. Now the first thing that we need to do is to straighten this. We really don't want to work with a crooked picture. So from here, I'm going to go to Tools, Transform Tools, and Rotate. Now notice that that has placed a grid over it. And we can either use the slider to twist it. If it's too far off, just click Reset. You can also come down here, click on it, and then start twisting it until it's at an angle that you think is about right. You can also use the up and down here, although that adjustment might be a little bit on the crude side. Sometimes you can do better just using the cursor. Not too much in that direction. Once you have it just the way you want it, click on Rotate. It snaps back, and after the timer is done, it looks like it's pretty good. The next step is going to be to crop it. Choose the cropping tool, choose a corner, drag down, and if you take a look at it with the cropping tool, it looks like I got it done pretty well. I'm going to hit Enter, and the cropping is done. Next thing, we're going to make some minor color adjustments. Up in the toolbar, go to Colors. We're going back to Curves. Now we're going to grab the line somewhere right around here, right about 190 by 190, and go ahead and pull it straight up until you're at about 190 by 230. How much do you adjust it? You keep making adjustments until you get to a color level that you like. And you can do this in multiple locations. You can come down here and make adjustments here also. And once it's someplace that you like, click OK, and it's done. Now just a reminder, if you goofed on it, you can come up here to the History dock, click on the previous step, and it takes you back. So let's go back, do the curves one more time, going to about 190 by 190, pulling it up to about 190 by 230. And selecting OK from there. Now we're not done with the color adjustments yet. The next thing that we're going to work with are the levels. And you'll find that also under Colors. Come down to Levels, and you get another graph. Now there's three areas here to play with. If I come over here to the left side, click it and drag it up, you can see that that makes things darker. If I come to the right side and drag it down, that makes things lighter. And this one in the middle adjusts the center point of it. Let me reset everything. For this particular image, and again, that's this particular image. Each image that you work with is going to be different. I'm going to drag this one up to about 10. This one, I'm going to make just a minor adjustment, take it down to about 240 or so. And the mid-range, I'm going to take it to about 140. Now, if I wanted to make it look like it was dark, more a nighttime scene, I could drag this off to the right. Let me go to an extreme, make it about 0.2, and you get the impression that perhaps it's towards sunset and this was a long exposure, but that's not what we're going for. So I'm going to put this back about 1.4. At this point, that's pretty good. I'm going to click OK. Next is the Dodge and Burn. The Dodge and Burn tool is this one right down here. And again, if you hover over a tool, it gives you a description of what the tool is. Dodging and burning are old photographic techniques. With dodging, you actually held something between the lens of the enlarger and the photographic paper that you were burning onto, and that would cut down on the amount of light, making an image or that area of an image lighter. Burning was sort of the opposite. You put extra light on a particular area and that would make it darker. Opposite ends of the same thing. Well, in this case, we're going to want to be burning, and to do that, you'll be pressing the control button. Let's put this on the image, but there's some adjustments that we need to make. Let me expand the tool box over here. Opacity, I'm going to want to decrease to about 90. Brush, number 2, that's fine. Size, I'm going to want to increase to approximately 100. Besides using the arrows here, you can also click over here and drag it. The top half is for coarse adjustments. If you click at the bottom, that makes it much finer. And we're ready to go. Now I want to work on these flowers. So I'm going to press Control, and I'm just going to do a few clicks here and pass over it. And notice these flowers that I'm working on, or the areas on them, are getting just a little bit darker. Each time that I let go of the mouse button, that's a new action over here. You can see I've piled up a whole section of dodge and burns. Now, just by way of example, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do this one about a whole bunch of times, and you can see that it got quite a bit darker. So let's go back several steps on the dodge and burn, and that looks pretty good right about there. At this point, we're going to zoom in, and I'm going to do that by selecting the zoom tool, clicking on a particular area to get in really close, and I want to take out this gold yellow rectangle from this box here. I'm going to come up here, choose the color picker, select an area from the gray, and now I'm going to come over here to the airbrush tool. Now if you see the circle around it, that's the area that it's going to do. So if I start doing it, notice how it makes that whole area. That's way too big. So on the history, I'm going to undo it. I'm going to come down here to the size, make it a lot smaller. That still looks a bit large. Let's try about 30, maybe even a little bit smaller. Now I'm pressing the button, pulling down, and you can see it's getting a little bit lighter. The airbrush tool does not make it dark all at once. This is more for subtle adjustments. But if you notice, it's overflowing a little bit. So I'm going to step back. I'm going to choose the selection tool, and for a demo I'm going to select just half of that. I'll go back to the airbrush tool, and now I'm going to start airbrushing it. Notice I'm being sloppy. I'm going down into the lower part, but it's only affecting the area within the selection. Let me get rid of that other half now. And let's scroll over. There's one more over here. Let's do that. Now, does that look right? No, because I copied it from a different area. So let's go back, not to the rectangle select. Let's go back to the airbrush, and let's make sure I don't have anything selected right now. I'm going to choose the color picker tool, click on it, select an area, airbrush, and let's start painting it again. Blends in quite a bit better. And let's zoom back out. Let's take it down a little bit more than that even. Now there's one more adjustment that I want to make in this, and that's a strange term called Unsharp Mask. That's one of the filters. Enhance, Unsharp Mask. Now this can make things look a little bit sharper, but you have to be careful with it. Overuse and you have a problem. Radius, I'm going to set to approximately 170. But again, just like any other tool, you have to experiment with it. There are no hard and set numbers that you always use. It's going to vary from image to image. Amount, I'm going to take that up to about, not that far, to about 0.7. And you can see the effect that it's having up here in this little preview. Threshold, I'm going to leave at 0. Now, if you don't like the area of preview, you can click on one of the sliders and choose a different area of the image to be looking at. You can also click on the image and grab it to move it around until you get to an area of the image that you want to see. Once you're happy with the settings, click OK. It does the rendering. And for Lesson 2, we're almost done. One more thing I want to show you. Monitors work in a mode called RGB. Stands for red, green, blue. That's the channel stock. If you notice, there's 4 sections here: red, green, blue, and alpha. Alpha we'll go over on a future lesson. This is showing all three of the color channels active. If I turn off the red channel, this is what the image looks like with just blue and green. Now this is what it looks like with just red and blue. And finally with just red and green. If I turn off the red, this is what the image looks like in green. You can see the different intensities. No colors, just red and just blue. So all three of those colors is what makes up the image. That's it for lesson 2.